things that are good about being ill, but not too ill. One is the center of attention. It's a nice excuse to stay long in bed and ignore tiresome duties. Certain weakness of limb and dullness of mind can be comforting for a while. Chicken soup. A cool hand on a hot brow. These are all good things about being not too ill. Yukinari, are you asleep?
I was thinking of a list of my own.
Oh, so I bring you here to the palace and you think you must write lists like mine?
No, this one I read. The papers were taken from me, but I think I can remember it. It is memorable.
Go on.
The people who rule flout all the gods' laws. They are without compunction, compassion, any sense of common good.
What is this?
They smile at their limpid, tender pools and see reflected their own gods in the palace itself.
Stop this.
They are corrupted and they corrupt.
You must stop.
Even our emperor himself, descendant of the sun goddess...
No more blasphemy.
He is an unknowing, mischievous boy.
Madness.
What is it? Tell me, Shonagon. Here, take my hands. Now touch my forehead with yours. Be still and tell me.
Lord Tadanobu.
Still, calmly.
It is Yukinari.
That peasant again. You'll recover. And I doubt he will. He's as resilient as a plague. Why His Majesty had him brought back here,
He spoke about His Majesty.
What do you mean?
About the palace. Our rulers, they flout the gods.
What?
What happened to him? I think it has made him mad.
I've said all along you were mad. Dangerously mad. Now even Shonagon agrees.
I am not mad, Lord Tadanobu. I am perturbed.
Perturbed? What kind of word is that?
A mild one. Maybe appalled would be better.
Certainly appalled Shonagon. She looked stricken, haunted.
I deeply regret that. I am not well.
Your last visit here, you brought dissension and confusion.
Shonagon and I did solve the crime.
Which turned out to be trifling. And now it seems you mutter about sedition, blasphemy. Oh, I know you charmed His Majesty back then, but this time...
I have written to the Emperor.
How dare you?
I have no choice but to dare. Just a short note. Told him there is great danger. Villainous goings-on. Asked him if Shonagon might be my assistant again. Is he uncharmed now, do you think? Enough to refuse me?
You frightened me. Those dreadful words.
I know, but they were not my words. They are words and thoughts I have been finding in many places. If they are widely read among the people...
The people will burn such words. They will stamp on the ashes.
Shonagon, you cannot be sure of that. You know little about how things are outside the palace.
I go outside the palace. I went into the blacksmith's house to find you.
You travelled in the Emperor's coach with an imperial guard all around you.
To find you.
Yes.
How did you come upon these writings?
Well, the first ones were sent to me. Directly to me, not my commander.
Did you show them to your commander?
Of course. He took them from me and told me never to say another word about them. I never heard another word about them. I managed to track down a few other fragments.
Against your commander's orders. Perhaps whoever sent them knew that you would do that.
Many of the fragments have several things in common. Fire is mentioned a lot. Remember the amulet of the wild boar I had with me?
The fire god, Kagusuchi.
Yes. Whatever is coming has to do with fire.
I kept the amulet for you.
Well, good. I may have use of it. The pages speak of the day of fire, the righteous day to come. Now, I have found such pages all over the country and many such amulets. They speak of the ancestors, of a call to righteousness and justice. The pages also speak of a lord.
What lord?
The Incorruptible Lord, the Incorruptible Lord in the heart of corruption. By that, I think they mean the palace.
This is vile.
Yes, it is. There is someone here, Shonagon, a lord of the palace who is profoundly dangerous. And who knows the palace and its lords better than you? Do you believe me? Believe I am not mad, not seditious. Remember what we used to say.
Nothing is unthinkable. Things that come to mind. There is a lord who sees danger everywhere. A wind in the palace garden he thinks can bring only news both momentous and bad. There is a lord in whose heart a flame has been kindled. He welcomes peril. He thinks that a god guides his hand. There is a lord who hears the voices of his ancestors, like a call to arms. These are the things that come to trouble the mind.
Speak, Shonagon. Speak quietly, and nothing you say will go beyond me. My promise. That about me at least you can trust.
There is, Lord Masamitsu.
Mm-hmm.
But he's old. He can't be whatever you're looking for.
He came to your mind. Go on, please.
There is an air about him of, I don't know, dread, as if he's forever expecting something. He's been away from the palace many years. Nobody seems to know quite where he's been. Study, he says, observation.
Go on.
Then there is Lord Oshika. My mouth is dry.
Sip this. It is fresh, cool.
Lord Oshika is quite new in the palace. He said he came here for me. I didn't believe him for a moment. A young lord's romantic game. He said a flame had been kindled in his heart by the great god Kagusuchi.
Masamitsu, Oshika, who else? There is another, Shonagon. I can tell you have another name in mind.
This lord said he wondered, sometimes he wondered.
What?
If there might be another way for him. Not poetry, not palace ritual. He said sometimes he hears the voices of his ancestors, like a call to arms, to a righteous campaign.
Lord Tadanobu.
That is unthinkable. He has been companion and poet to His Majesty for years. How could I raise his name?
You are a brave woman, Shonagon.
I don't feel brave.
Neither do I. No hero at all.
It is you, Yukinari. You frighten me.
Me? A hobbling invalid with a cripple's staff?
You are changed.
I am.
And you frighten me.
Lord Masamitsu, are you well?
I am well enough.
You gaze at the go board. Alone. Meditation?
I was mid-game with young Oshika. Suddenly he hurried off. He has too many things on his mind.
Well, that is a failing I notice afflicts an increasing number of people.
Huh. Do you play, Lieutenant?
Of course.
Well, then sit.
You would play with a policeman?
A policeman of whom our Emperor is fond. And our Shonagon, too, of course. Sit. Play Oshika's pieces. Black.
Seems to me he had the advantage. What could take him away from the game?
Youth. You have been ill, Lieutenant.
Misfortune befell me.
In the shape of cudgels and staves, I'm told. Your profession is a dangerous one.
Well, it can be.
I suppose you must run the risk of such calamity when you are in pursuit of the truth.
I simply do my job. Sometimes, perhaps, too simply. I'm so intent on the case in hand, I stumble into forbidden places.
Forbidden by whom?
That is a truth I haven't yet uncovered.
You play well.
But not as well, I think, as young Lord Oshiko. For you have regained the advantage.
This case in hand, can you tell me something about it, or is it secret?
Well, not so much secret as vague. I was sent certain writings anonymously. They, too, were vague, mystical, prophetic, apocalyptic.
Oh, apocalypse. I fear that almost as much as the weakening of my old limbs, the thinning of my blood, rising in the night 6 times to relieve myself. That does remind one of the end of things. I take it these writings led you somewhere forbidden.
They led me to hiding places.
And what was hidden there?
Other writings.
And they led you to...
I suppose I must say they led me here.
Because here you are.
I think I must yield to you soon.
Oh, not just yet. Play on. Sometimes I make unwise old man's moves.
I also found several of these.
The fire god, Kagusuchi.
Yes. Wearing this is supposed to give protection from his wrath.
I have seen one before, but it was not so crudely peasant as that. This one was silver. The boar's eyes were precious stones. A young lord wore it beneath his robes. A young, romantic, impetuous lord.
Of youthful impatience? I'm sure I cannot win from this position.
Earthquake.
A little one.
Nothing is substantial. Nothing.
Sit quietly, my lord. It is mild. It will pass.
All things will pass.
Things that are astonishing about the earth. Each year it dies. Each year it returns to life. It yields all manner of things to sustain us. Rice and vegetables and fruit. It warms its grasses in the sun, which is pleasing to bare feet. It is vast. One cannot know if it has an end. Its depth is immeasurable. It is of all things most solid. And yet it may ripple and shiver like a gown of silk, and bring down bridge and tree. House and temple may fall,